Yeah, and the thing is, after the game, if anyone listened to Dabo, he said he made no he yelled it from the mountaintops like DJ is our starter. I did this to win this game. This was for this game only.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no issue with that if you want to do that. I think Sark at that moment, if he did decide to pull that trigger, he just needs to go over to Ewers, explain to him, hey, listen, you're not playing well today. You're still our quarterback, but today it's going to be Hudson, okay? So that's the situation that probably should have happened in this game. I think it would have helped because I think, especially if Steve Sarkisian allows Hudson Card to be himself and run the ball, I think there was chances in this game to take advantage of the Oklahoma State defense running with the quarterback because they were kind of selling out to just attack Quinn Ewers. I mean, you saw they got to him a lot today. He did have to throw off his back foot a lot to get rid of the ball. The offensive line, by far its worst game. They played absolutely terrible, especially in the second half. And once they decided, Oklahoma State that is, decided to stop the counter play, it was over. We couldn't run the ball. Like the counter was there in the first half. They took it away in the second half, and there was no running opportunities from there. I wish we would have saw more. Again, for some reason, Steve Sarkisian in the big games likes to do all these motions, all these screens and stuff like that. In these games, he just doesn't do that. He doesn't run enough motion, in my opinion. He doesn't run enough screens. Jordan Whittington didn't get the ball that much today. Jatavian Sanders barely got the ball until later in the game. I have an issue with that. So it's just overall just a weird game plan, in my opinion. What do you think about the game plan?
It seems like the further you get into the game, the more predictable the play calling gets. You know, he comes out with the scripted plays and, you know, all kinds of motions, getting guys out in space. You know, we seen on the Xavier Worthy touchdown where, you know, he went in a motion and nobody covered him. Or, you know, the wheel route out of the backfield to Bijan, you know, just, you know, creative plays. But the further you get into the game, the more predictable it goes. So, and, you know, everybody was ready to crown Quinn Ewers as the next king of college football. He didn't live up to the billing.
No, you can see the arm talent. What you see his issue is reading defenses. I think people have pointed that out. He's a one read guy. Like if the one read's there, he can get you the ball and it's going to be spectacular with his arm strength and everything, but he's not great at reading defenses at this point. And that's to be, I guess, expected. He's a freshman. I don't expect him to be out there diagnosing blitzes and stuff like that, but he still has to be better at getting to his multiple reads. I think the best example of that was the play where we luckily got a false start later there on that last drive, because that was literally, he knew exactly before the play happened where he was going with that ball, and he was going there no matter what. It wouldn't have mattered. He was going there, and you can't do that. Like that's just, you can get away with that in high school. You can't get away with that in college. You definitely can't get away with that in the NFL. You have to be able to diagnose and react on your feet. And if he can't learn to do that, then he's just going to be one of those guys to where you're going to have all the arm talent. I think you see that with Clemson. Like DJ has an insane arm, but the guy can't read defense. At some point, you're going to have to read defenses, and you're going to react to what they're doing and adjust from that. And I think you saw Derek Mason kind of see that in the first half, like what Quinn was good at, change it up to confuse him. And then when he's confused, he was absolutely abysmal in the second half. I don't know what his numbers were in the second half, but at one point he was 7 of his last 19. My guess, he's probably finished in the second half of like 10 of 27 or something like that. It was pretty damn bad. It was really bad, in fact. And especially since we couldn't run the ball, we had nothing else to rely on. Like there was nothing else there.
Yeah, it's just it's laughable, man. Go on a 3-game win streak, and you know, just there's no explanation, man. Can't finish a game. 31-17. That's the time to pour it on, and just can't get it done.
John, I believe you said Texas would finish 5-7 again. I will bet you $1,000 we win one more game this year. Like I will seriously, if you want to bet 1,000, I will bet you $1,000. We will win at least one more game. I'm very confident in that, especially after watching Baylor and Kansas play today, because we're beating one of those teams, two teams for sure, if not both. But I mean, I would agree. It would be somewhat of if we fall apart, if we lose to Kansas State next week, I could see us only winning one more game on the rest of the season, which would that would be falling apart. But you would still be just as wrong as we were, John. I still think this team's an 8-4 team. I think we're going to be 8-4. Like I said, that still gives us another loss. We could lose next week, and we win out. We're still 8-4. And if we win next week, I really believe we're going to go 8-4. Because again, Kansas and Baylor didn't impress me. Who else do we have on our schedule after Kansas State? Are those our last 2 games, Kansas and Baylor?
Kansas, Baylor, and why is my house phone ringing? Sorry.
No, you're good. I think that is. I think you lose to Kansas State. 100% possible. I predicted that we'd lose to Kansas State in the preseason, so I could see that happening. D4 thought we'd lose to Oklahoma State. He was right about that. I thought we'd win this game, lose next week. Hopefully it's the reverse. He had the reverse where we lose this week, win next week. And obviously I'm rooting for that. I don't want to be right. But Kansas State's a good team. That wouldn't surprise me. We had played TCU as well. That was the one team. So if we win those games, we'll go 9-3. If we split, we'll probably go 8-4. Like I said, Baylor and Kansas don't scare me. Minimum on this team is 6-6. But 6-6 is a disappointing season. I don't look at that and say, oh, a good season. Like 8-4 was where we needed to be this year, in my opinion.